This is Mac OS Ken.
A good news, bad news note from Credit Suisse. Apple Watch has sticky attachment and a chance to own some of Steve Jobs' stuff. Well, I do like stuff. It is Monday, the 17th of October, 2022. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplysafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Apple's next quarterly earnings call should be a good one. Past that, That paraphrases a note from Credit Suisse analyst Shannon Cross. Seeking Alpha has written up a note she wrote. In it, the piece says she raised her September quarter revenue and earnings per share estimates by 1% on continued strong sales of iPhone 14 Pro and iPhone 14 Pro Max. She's now looking for revenue of about $89.7 billion, up from her previous expectation of $88.7 on earnings per share of $1.30, up from her previous expectation of $1.26. May not be all about iPhone. According to Seeking Alpha, Cross also noted that although Mac, iPad, wearable, and home and accessory supplies were constrained in the third quarter, it's possible that supply chains improved, notably helping the Mac. While all the fun may not be over, she doesn't see a lot of it coming anytime soon. She lowered her estimates for the 2023 and 2024 fiscal years to account for a weaker consumer backdrop, according to the piece. And yet she is standing pat on Apple stock. Cross has an outperform rating on the company's shares. Her price target on the shares is $190. In North America, nearly 1 in 3 iPhone users are Apple Watch users too. That is the latest from Counterpoint research. In the first half of 2022, the firm says Apple Watch's attach rate reached 30%, the highest for any half year since launch. The firm says the wearable has gone from being seen as little more than a novelty when it launched in 2015 to a big part of 3 key lifestyle elements for users: fitness, health, and wellness. As Apple Watch becomes more important for users, it becomes a bigger part of Apple's growth strategy in Counterpoint's estimation. The firm sees Apple Watch as a potential driver for services growth, mainly through subscriptions of Apple Music, Apple Care, and Apple Podcasts. Additionally, Counterpoint argues that Apple Watch strengthens the hold Apple has on consumers, keeping churn under check and creating more hardware opportunities for Apple. That's important as the Cupertino company pushes harder into health, fintech, automotive, and beyond. On the financial side, Counterpoint sees the wearable's average selling price going up with the introduction of more premium variants such as the new Apple Watch Ultra. One kind of wonders whether sales of the higher-priced device will offset the lower price of Apple Watch SE. Then again, if Apple sales are robbing from Apple sales to fill Apple's coffers, doesn't seem like Apple would mind that much. Overall, the potential is huge. According to Counterpoint, if Apple views every iPhone user as a potential Apple Watch user, then the annual revenue opportunity for Apple Watch could be nearly $70 billion with a B dollars, or nearly 550% higher than the current estimated annual Apple Watch revenues. Yeah, Mac Geek Gab's Dave Hamilton says Apple Watch is an aspirational device. A 100% attach rate is definitely an aspirational number. If you send in an old iPhone as part of Apple's trade-in program and Apple says they never got it, it's not just you. Chance Miller at 9 to 5 Mac has written up what happened to him. He sent in an iPhone 13 Pro Max, presumably trading up to an iPhone 14 Pro Max, only to receive an email from Apple a week later indicating that when it got there, the box was bare. Quoting the email Miller got from Apple, "When we received your trade-in kit, there was no device inside the box. If this was intended, or if you've already contacted us concerning this issue, disregard this email. Otherwise, it's important that you reply with the following information as soon as possible: the exact item or items you placed inside the return packaging, a detailed description of how you packaged and sealed the goods inside." That could have left Miller out one iPhone and the $700 credit he was supposed to get for returning the old iPhone. When he posted about the issue online, though, he found it's not just him. Countless iPhone buyers seem to receive an email like this every year, according to Miller, who added a quick look on forums like Reddit reveals that this is a pretty common problem. He says responding to the Apple email usually clears up the confusion. Not always, though, and either way, stressful. Many suggested to Miller that he go to an Apple store to complete the trade-in rather than relying on package carriers. Not super helpful when you live nowhere near an Apple store. Anyway, if this happens to you, persevere. It's not just you. There's a new unionized Apple store in the States. The Washington Post says Apple Penn Square in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma has voted pro-union, allying itself with the Communications Workers of America Union, or CWA. It was not an overwhelming vote, though it was enough. Votes fell 56-4 to 32 against, according to the report. Addressing the union issue, Apple chose to not actually address the union part. In a statement to the Washington Post, Apple said, "We believe the open, direct, and collaborative relationship we have with our valued team members is the best way to provide an excellent experience for our customers and for our teams. We're proud to provide our team members with strong compensation and exceptional benefits. Since 2018, we've increased our starting rates in the U.S. by 45%, and we've made many significant enhancements to our industry-leading benefits, including new educational and family support programs." Ahead of the vote, according to the Post, Oklahoma employees said they were hoping to unionize for better pay, career development, and improved health and well-being conditions in their work environment. The vote now has to be certified by the U.S. National Labor Relations Board. At that point, the union can begin contract negotiations with Apple. More news in a moment, but first a word from SimpliSafe, the right way to protect your home and sponsor of today's show. The whole point of a security system is keeping your home safe and keeping your home feeling safe. So why choose a security company that starts by sending strangers into your house? I'm kind of particular about that kind of thing. I like things the way I like them, and if I can do it myself, I would prefer to. That is one of my many favorite parts about SimpliSafe, how much it lets you do yourself. From picking the sensors, camera, and other equipment that's right for you, to placing and setting it up yourself. I had my door sensors, keypad, and base station set up in well under an hour. Super simple. Now, while you start by yourself, once you're set up, SimpliSafe has your back. With 24/7 professional monitoring, SimpliSafe's agents call you the moment they see a problem and send police or first responders in an emergency, even if you're not home or can't be reached. Their customer-first policies make sure that you are taken care of, with affordable plans starting at less than $1 a day, no long-term contracts, and no hidden fees. Find out more. Customize the perfect system for your home in just a few minutes at simplisafe.com/macOSKen. Go today and claim a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring. SIMPLI. Go to simplisafe.com/macOSKen. Some incredibly high-end cars are getting Apple Music's top-notch sound. Mac Rumors says the Cupertino company and Mercedes-Benz have announced native support for Dolby Atmos spatial audio in select models. Those are said by the piece to include the latest Mercedes Maybach, EQS, EQS SUV, EQE, and S-Class models. Of course, the in sound from way out doesn't just happen. The piece has The Verge pointing out that spatial audio requires a Burmester 3D or 4D sound system, which can cost thousands of dollars extra. But you're already buying a Mercedes-Benz. Live a little more. Still a few weeks away, but plans are out for the Veterans Day Apple Watch Activity Challenge. 9 to 5 Mac ran a piece last week outlining the event. As in years past, Apple says the event requires one to complete any workout for 11 minutes or more, record your time with the workout app or any app that adds workouts to Health, and you get one of the company's virtual medallions plus virtual stickers to virtually stick in iMessage and other applications. If you're an Apple Watch user, the device should flash a reminder a few days before the event. Veterans Day and the Activity Challenge both hit on Friday, the 11th of November. And finally today, another lot of Steve Jobs' Ephemera is going up for auction. Ephemera, keepsakes, we could say stuff, but that doesn't sound cool. Apple Insider says a Macintosh SE used by Jobs when he was at Next is hitting the block. According to the report, the computer is described as having been originally set up for use by Jobs' assistant in late 1987 to early 1988. The hard drive inside the machine is said to hold data relating to his working schedule, including task lists, recruiting work, travel, and details of a missed meeting with King Charles III, known at the time as the Prince of Wales. Apple Insider says there is also evidence that Jobs' daughter, Lisa Brennan Jobs, used the Macintosh SE when visiting the office. Now, how much would you pay? Well, hopefully between $200,000 and $300,000. That is what the auction house Bonhams expects the machine to fetch. Other items on the block include the Apple II Ventless Rev Zero, an Apple Macintosh Team polo shirt from the 1980s, a Next performance review signed by Jobs, 3 of Jobs' Pixar business cards, and more. Happening under the heading, The History of Science and Technology, bids are open now. The sales will end with live bidding on Tuesday, the 25th of October. Today on the Mac Observer's Daily Observations podcast, TMO Managing Editor Jeff Butts takes issue with a Piper Sandler survey, and I've got questions about a new smart lock on Apple's shelves. That is all today on the Daily Observations podcast from the Mac Observer, online at macobserver.com or wherever you get podcasts. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and sponsored by SimpliSafe. Get a free indoor security camera plus 20% off with interactive monitoring at simplisafe.com/macOSKen. This show is also supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSKen. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macosken.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.